Donna, you ready? It's the one time a year I get to do that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call this inaugural session of Bruce County Council to order. My name is Betty Ann Cobain, and I'm the Director of Corporate Services for the County of Bruce and Chair of this inaugural session. On behalf of Bruce County Council, I would like to extend a sincere welcome to everyone here today and to those listening online. The past year, 2016, the second of the four-year term, has been extremely busy for Warden Tulin and members of Bruce County Council. Chief Administrative Officer Kelly Coulter will speak to the accomplishments and challenges this morning following the roll call. Often we ask ourselves, what does the future hold? On January 1st, 2017, the County of Bruce will celebrate 150 years of existence as an incorporated county. On January 22, 1867, Bruce County Council, under the wardenship of James Brocklebank, reeve of the former Brant Township, met for the very first time. And Warden Brocklebank had this to say to his fellow councilmen. And just to prove that we do have the official minutes from 1867 that were bound, and I just want to take a few minutes to read to you from the minute book. Minutes of the proceedings of the Municipal Council of the County of Bruce, January session, 1867, Council Room, Walkerton, Tuesday, January 22, 1867, 7 o'clock. The County Council of the County of Bruce met for dispatch of business in accordance with the Municipal Corporations Act of Upper Canada when the following gentlemen presented their certificates as having been duly elected reeves and deputy reeves for the year 1867 and took their seats. The clerk took the chair, called the council to order, and requested them to nominate their warden for the current year. Mr. Brocklebank was declared duly elected by the clerk. Having made and subscribed the declaration of office, the clerk read the minutes of last meeting, which were approved. Warden signed the same and addressed the council. Allow me to thank you for the confidence you have again placed in me by electing me to preside over you for another year. This mark of your favor is all the more grateful as it was entirely unsolicited by me. The other gentleman who was nominated to the office is as well qualified to discharge its duties as I am, and had he been elected, would no doubt have done so. It must be a matter of congratulation to all of us that we now meet for the first time as a separate body, having the full control of our own affairs, and that the long struggle over the county-town matter has been brought to an end. The taxes have been increasing for some years because of the expenditure on these buildings and the improvements making in our roads and harbors. It will be your aim to make, if possible, the sums appropriated for these purposes complete the works undertaken so that no further increase in taxes may be necessary. There is still a registry office wanting, which is required to be separated from any other buildings. Grants of money for the erection of drill sheds will also be wanted, but the government pays part of the cost of the latter. He had reason to believe from the action which had been taken that the government would give $6,000 on account of the extra work and changes which the inspectors had caused to be made in the jail. No action had yet been taken to furnish the courthouse, which would have to be attended to. While it was desirable to furnish the offices of the officials in a suitable and substantial manner, there was no necessity for extravagance. At last meeting, he was instructed by the council to correspond with the Montreal Telegraph Company in regard to telegraph communication through the county. He was informed by the company that an agent would visit the county during the winter. This agent had been here and visited several of the villages and made an offer to construct a telegraph on the poles being found. It would be for them to say, when the matter came before them, what assistance they would give. He had no doubt but that it would be for the benefit of the county to have it erected. The council instructed him, when at Godrich last, to find furnishing for the jail, and he had ordered half the quantity of bedding that was required. These were all the matters he remembered which he thought necessary to call their attention to, and he had now only to say that since they had called him to preside over them, he trusted he could always depend on their assistance and experience in conducting the business of the county. With these remarks, he would leave the matter in their own hands. I'm not, with the exception of purchasing linen perhaps for the jail, that the of the 2017 warden will be much different. The one thing that is different and of note is that the inaugural meeting in 1867 lasted 5 days. They met during the day and again in the evening. Of course, they only met 4 times each year. I have my doubts that any of our members of council came here today planning to meet for 5 days. It is exciting to know that we all play a small part in shaping the past, the present, and most importantly, the future. And today, I am very proud to have been able to hold the position of County Clerk for 28 years and to chair the inaugural sessions, electing the position of Warden annually. It has been a great honor, and I am pleased to turn over the responsibility to Donna Van Wyck on January 1st, 2017, when the Legislative Division transitions to the office of the CAO. We will now proceed with the first item on the agenda, the calling of the roll, and I would ask that as your name is called, to please respond to the roll call. Mr. Buckle? Present. Mrs. Eady?
Present.
Mr. Eagleson?
Present.
Mr. Ingalls?
Present.
Ms. Jackson?
Present.
Mr. McKeever? Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Tulin?
Present.
Thank you. I will now call on our Chief Administrative Officer, Kelly Coulter, for remarks.
Thank you, Betty Ann. Felt rather odd hearing Councillor McGeever's name in silence. So he is well, just for everyone in the gallery, he is well. He's just a bit detained. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 2016 inaugural session. Excuse me. Prior to the formal proceedings, it's a wonderful opportunity for me as Chief Administrative Officer and on behalf of the senior management team and citizens of Bruce County to share with you and to remind you of all of your accomplishments in the past year. Particularly your leadership, guidance, and support have been greatly appreciated. Under the leadership of Mr. County Engineer Brian Knox, the Highways Group had another year of solid construction. Special mention is deserved with the completion of the construction of County Road 6 west of Mildmay and Frank Street in Wyerton. And of course, let us not forget of the Wyerton Highways Depot that was a bit unscheduled, a bit advanced in the schedule perhaps due to the fire. County Council approved as well the Joint Paramedic Services Review with Grey County, from which we learned a lot about our service. It was undoubtedly gratifying for all of you to learn that the paramedic service is operationally and fiscally comparable to the best in the sector. Through the guidance of yourself, Warden Tulin, and County Council, the county established a physical presence on the peninsula. After years of protecting the forestry monies, and again, it's unfortunate that Councillor McGeever is a bit detained because he's probably next to Betty Ann and perhaps County Engineer Brian and Director of Planning, the only ones who remember when that money was actually received. So after years of protecting those monies, it was terrific to see that you made such great use and appropriate spending of it. Directors LaForest and Christine McDonald transitioned their operations into the new Burford location, launching our second community services hub. County Council further committed to advance the economic development across the region. Through your leadership, Warden Tulin, and the wisdom of County Council, the county entered into an innovative partnership with Bruce Power, which allows the region and the citizens of Bruce County to be the beneficiary of the single largest contract in Ontario's history with the major component rebuild project at Bruce Power. Coupled with the economic development program, you equally advanced the work of our new brand in imaging. The first cross-functional team, led by Caravan Mile and Jill Root, acted on your desire for new initiatives to promote our local communities beyond tourism and spruce the Bruce. And staff have been excited and gratified by your vision. Under the guidance of Chairman McGeever, Director Melissa Legacy advanced library services, especially in the area of expanded databases and continued preparations for the SOLS accreditation. And I'll save my comments on the bookmobile for future. Social services and affordable housing have had a year of also terrific transition under your guidance. They've moved into their new home in Wyerton that has allowed many people to physically work under one roof rather than being spread across multiple sites. This has had a profound effect on the staff servicing not only for the peninsula, but also the northern portions of Erin Elderslie and Saugeen Shores. Through your leadership, we were able, in the first year of administering the LEAP program on behalf of West Ontario Power, to help more families to address their utility constraints than in prior years. Your commitment to the accommodation review being led by Kathy McGurr, Director of the Museum, to really study and challenge the operations and space utilization has been significantly appreciated by her and by those within the museum. Your desire to celebrate our community with the 150th next year is also to be commended. Certainly the New Year's Eve Gala is turning into the social event of the year. Your leadership and desire to have our 2 long-term care facilities function cohesively and consistently as a single service has helped us to improve our service delivery. Through your support, Director Charles Young has been able to really impact the overall operations of the homes. As you identified, we have efficiencies through the 2 homes, and we are starting to see the synergies from those operations that you verbalized and thought were possible. In the area of corporate services, you supported the renovation of the Park Street location. Warden Tulin and County Council, your leadership allowed staff to complete the program budgeting and asset management programs, and ultimately to realize the opportunities of having finance and IT together under Director Cobain's guidance and leadership. And we're all very excited about the potential for SharePoint. That was supposed to get at least one laugh. But a key part of your county council strategic vision was to advance our innovation overall, and this certainly has been true with HR. The county is now an employer of choice, and Director Marianne Nero and her team have implemented a series of electronic and technological solutions in our area of recruitment and workflows, just to name a few of that team's accomplishments. Your commitment to the continued education and leadership skills evolution of the employees of Bruce County has been profound and highly impactful. And it is a wonderful coincidence that today we're recognizing the 2nd graduation for the Loyalist program. Often in these cases, we also look to external measurements to guide us. Recently, the county was recognized, along with Bruce Power and the Grey Bruce Health Services in Owen Sound, as a leadership organization in the development of your staff. The county was recently nominated by the Institute of Public Administration for innovative services, and your strategic vision for the staff is being recognized elsewhere. Equally, we received an award for innovation from the OGRA, and most recently had 2 staff members, Vicki Lee and Molly Kushma, both recognized for their leadership by external organizations. In closing, Warden Tulin and County Council, congratulations on another year of terrific accomplishment and your successes. Your leadership, guidance, and wisdom are deeply appreciated, and on behalf of the citizens of Bruce County, the employees of Bruce County, the senior management team, I wish to thank all of you. And with that, I'll turn it over to the county clerk.
Thank you, Madam CIO. As has been the procedure for several years, today's election of the 2017 warden will be by secret ballot. And at this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Tammy Grove McClement, the partner of Van Viver and Grove McClement, solicitors for the County of Bruce. And Tammy is accompanied by Associate Julia Fisher. So welcome. If an election is required, Ms. Grove McClement will act as the returning officer pursuant to Section 8N of the county's procedure bylaw, and Ms. Coulter, the county's chief administrative officer, and I will act as scrutineers under Section 8O. We will now proceed with the election of the 2017 warden as provided for under County of Bruce bylaw 2016-13. I have a motion moved by Mr. Engels, seconded by Mr. Buckle, that up to 2 minutes be allowed to receive nominations for the position of warden for the County of Bruce for the year 2017. Are there any questions? All of those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion is carried. I will now receive nominations for the position of warden for the County of Bruce for the year 2017. Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Engels, that Councillor Mitch Tulin be nominated for the position of Bruce County Warden for the year 2017. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Third and final time. Are there any further nominations? Being no further nominations, I declare nominations closed, and I will confirm if our member, Councillor Tulin, wishes to let his name stand for the position. Thank you. There being only one member wishing to let his name stand for the election of warden for 2017, I hereby declare that Mitch Tulin is duly elected warden of the County of Bruce for 2017. Congratulations, Warden Tulin, and if you'd like to come forward. Engels to present the chain of office. Smile.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It is my
Thank you. No,
and I will call our Chief Administrative Officer, Kelly Coulter, to present the county pin, the warden's pin. For the oath of office.
kind of need that, yeah.
I'll come up.
Okay.
Is this in your right hand? Left hand? I, Mitch Tulin,
I, Mitch Tulin,
do solemnly promise and declare
do solemnly promise and declare
that I will truly,
that I will truly,
faithfully, and impartially,
faithfully, and impartially,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
execute the office of the Warden of the County of Bruce,
execute the office of the Warden of the County of Bruce,
to which I have been elected in this municipality,
to which I have been elected in this municipality,
that I have not received
that I have not received
and will not receive any payment or reward
and will not receive any payment or reward
or promise thereof
or promise thereof
for the exercise
for the exercise
of any partiality or malversation
of any impartiality or malversation
or other undue execution of such office,
or any other undue execution of such office,
and that I will disclose any pecuniary interest,
and that I will disclose any pecuniary interest,
direct or indirect,
direct or indirect,
as required by
as required by
and in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
and in accordance with the Conflict of Interest Act.
And I make this solemn declaration,
And I make this solemn declaration,
consciously believing it to be true,
consciously believing this to be true,
and know that
that
it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
and that it is of the same force and effect if made under oath. Thank you.
Congratulations, Matthew.
That was easy.
I tried to go slow.
Yeah, I know you did, yeah.
Tammy. At this time, I'm very pleased to introduce Reverend Ralph Schmidt from the Bruce United Church Cooperative, who will bring the invocation and devotional exercise. Reverend Schmidt, thank you.
Congratulations, Mitch. It's great to be with you again. When I walked in the door, I was told that I had a half an hour. I'm told it's 2 and then people leave after 10 minutes. And so I'll maybe take 5. What I'd like to invite all of you who are physically able to do so, I'd like you to stand up, please. And ask about all of the joints and muscles that hurt. And all right, please be seated. This past month, we've lost a Canadian icon in Leonard Cohen. And I thought I would just make reference to a couple of his most famous poem songs for you to think about as you begin this new session with a new warden and look at 2017 as an anniversary year. The first one is a song called "If It Be Your Will That I Should Sing Again." But what I'd like you to do is Google it when you go home and change the word "sing" to "serve." If it be your will that I should serve again. And listen to those words and understand that each of you, whether you're from Tara or Wyerton or you're an MP or MPP or a pastor who's an administrator, we're all called to what we do. And I believe that there is a spiritual dimension to what we're called to do, and I invite you to look at that. Second thought from Leonard Cohen is he has a song about brokenness, and it's in the broken part that the light comes through. None is perfect. The oath of office tries to cover all the obvious stuff. Your covenants with the communities that elected you covers all the obvious stuff. But there's also the acknowledgement that none of us is perfect, that all of us has a sense of brokenness at times, whether it be in our relationships, in our general life, in our health. Sometimes that brokenness is obvious. But I would remind you this morning that in that brokenness, sometimes that's where the light shines through. And I think it's a mysterious and divine dimension of our breathing and existence, that light comes in when we're feeling the most broken. Finally, before I close with a word of prayer, there's a wonderful story about a gentleman from China who came to visit in Canada to learn all about economic development and politics and human relations and all of those things, and he spent 6 weeks in Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver. And when he was interviewed before leaving, he was asked, "What has most impressed you about Canadian society?" And he responded, "Your spirituality." And everybody kind of looked at him and said, "That's not what we were expecting." Maybe a comment about Trudeau, maybe a comment about the provincial setup, but our spirituality. He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I walk the streets of your cities and towns, and people obey the laws. 99 point something of the people. If the light is red, they stop. They're courteous. If there's an elderly person on the sidewalk, they step aside or they help them out." He said, "You couldn't hire enough police enforcement in this land if people didn't have that spiritual dimension which helps them see beyond themselves." I share that with you. You all are called, whether you be clerk or warden or counselor, you all are called to bring that dimension of care and looking beyond oneself to the term that you serve. And I wish you well as you do it. And I know you'll do a good job. I'd like to invite you now to do a little bit of breathing, and then I'm just going to have a closing word. What I'd like you to do is, if you would, close your eyes, put your hands on your desk if you have one in front of you, and relax. What I'd like you to do is try to breathe in a sense of peacefulness and breathe out all of the stress that you brought into this room. Breathe in peacefulness. Breathe out the stress of electing a new warden, of getting the agenda ready, of wondering who's going to show up, about thinking about what's for lunch, whether the Christmas tree should go up yet tomorrow. Let all of that go and breathe in a sense of calm and peace. And as you do, I share these words. Holy mystery, in the midst of much we understand and more that we don't, we come before you and pray for transparency and innovation as a council, as individuals who serve this council. May the spirit in these chambers always reflect respect and goodwill, even in the midst of differing opinions. May we all treat each other with the dignity, understanding that we are all children of God. We ask this in the name of all that is sacred and holy. Amen.
On behalf of council and staff, Reverend Smith, thank you very much for your chosen words this morning. At this time, I would turn it over to Warden Toulon for his remarks.
Thank you, Betty Ann, and you'll be glad to know I didn't write a speech this year, so I find I have more problems with trying to get my message across. First, there's a lot of thank yous. I have to start out with my wife, Brittany, who, and I told you I was busy just listening to Kelly and all the things that we have done as a council, so hopefully now you believe me. So I want to sincerely thank you for allowing me to do this for the third consecutive year. So I'm very lucky to have the support of my family back home. Again, Emma said, Dad, you've done this so many times that I don't need to be there today. I don't want to miss any more school, which is kind of surprising from a kid. But anyways, my father-in-law, Kevin's here. Thanks for coming. I know my mother-in-law is busy working for Saugeen Mobility, helping the people that probably need the most help in our community. So thanks for coming today. To my nominators, Mike and David, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And to my fellow county councilors for giving me this privilege again to represent you as head of council. I sincerely thank you for that and entrusting me in this position, and I will take your guidance to heart this year as well. So we've had a busy year, like Kelly said. And there has been a lot of changes, and sometimes change is good. It is good, but change sometimes comes with some struggles as well. But first off, I want to thank Betty Ann for her 28 years as clerk, and I really like for everybody to recognize her with an applause for her dedication. And it truly tells you the types of people that we have working for the county, that Betty Ann is able to give up this position to move on for the betterment of the county of Bruce. And that's a testament to the type of people we have working here and the commitment that people give to the county of Bruce. So for that, I thank you. For all those directors and staff members that are here today, truly, we don't get things accomplished. Obviously, we set budgets and timelines for you as directors and staff to try to fulfill, and you do it to the best of your ability, and basically doing this not only because you're an employee, but because you care about our communities. So for that, I thank you, and again, I look forward to working with each and every one of you this coming year. As for projects moving forward, I'm very excited about, and it's funny listening to the warden's remarks back 150 years ago about communications, and when I was listening to that today, here we are, we're entrenched with the SWIFT project. So you have telegraph 150 years ago. Now we have concerns about delivering high-speed broadband to each and every one of our residents here in rural Ontario. So the more things they change, they really don't. And thank goodness we don't have to be putting linen in the county jail anymore. So, right, Paul? I don't think you want to be putting any more over there? No. So for projects moving forward, obviously the SWIFT it's a big one, and County Council has saw fit that this is a very important project for our community and for southwestern Ontario as a whole. The agreement that we have signed with Bruce Power, and Kelly alluded to this earlier, this is monumental, folks, and we have an opportunity here as a county to work with Bruce Power and our neighbors in Grey and Huron counties about moving projects forward, and that being trying to get these companies to move into Bruce, Grey, or Huron County to provide services and jobs to our community. And that's very important, because the more people we have working, the more people that we can help, and the more people can help themselves. And to that end too, it's incumbent on us as elected officials to take notice of those less fortunate people in our community that they're silent, and they look upon us to lead the way and to try to help them out with their day-to-day concerns and issues that they have. So I think that's something that we must, on a daily basis, keep trying to help those less fortunate. So we have a lot of things happening in the county, and Kelly, I just want to congratulate you. You're an excellent leader, and you've taken Bruce County to a different spot, and for that I thank you. So I will end it at that. I look forward to working to each and every one of you, and the door is always open. So thank you very much, and I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a healthy and happy New Year. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Warden, we do have just one little gift from your fellow councillors for you. So I'll ask Councillor Smith to bring it up.
Would you like me to open it? Please. Yes. Very nice. Brittany just cringes when she sees white shirts come into our... All right, so I think we'll have a quick break for reception and then come back in. So everybody's welcome to come back for some refreshments, and we'll call the meeting back to order in a few minutes. Okay, thanks.
Room 2, and you're welcome to join us to celebrate Warden Tulin.